and welcome to Pajama Storytime, Bedtime Storytime. I'm Miss Christy with the Atlee Library, and today we're going to do a bedtime storytime. And you can take this time to put it on pause and go get your pajamas on and get ready so that you can get cozy to listen to these stories. I've got my slippers on, so I'm ready. So we're going to do our hello song, and some of you may remember, and if you're new, just follow along the best you can. Alright, so we're going to get started. Hello, hello, can you say hello, 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 can you say hello, hello, can you reach up high, can you touch your toes, can you turn around, can you say hello, 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 can you clap your hands? Hello, hello, can you stamp your feet? Can you reach up high? Can you touch your toes? Can you turn around? Can you say hello? Hello and welcome again. In a minute we're going to sing another song. So we're going to sing another song. This is Miss Jackie's song, so you might recognize it. And I want you to think about the song while we're singing it and see if you can guess what part of our story time is going to be about today. So here we go. The more we read together, 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 the more we read together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause my friends are your friends and your friends are my friends. The more we read together, the happier we'll be. Now, did you think of anything? Yes, our story time today is going to be about love and togetherness. Since we have Valentine's Day coming up, we want to do a story time about love and togetherness. Now, our first book is called A World Together, and we're going to read this close up. In this book, even though things may be different right now, and we may not feel like we get to be together, we do, and this book will show you how. A World Together by Sonia Marzano. She is Sesame Street's Maria. We would like to thank the publishers, which is National Geographic Kids. How many wonderful people do you know? You know your family and friends. You know your neighbors and teachers. Did you know there are about 8 billion people on the planet? That's more than you can count in your whole lifetime. They live on different continents in different countries. Do you wonder what kinds of houses they live in? All these people hug and show love the same way you do. They get warmed by the same sun and sleep under the same stars. Do you wonder about what people eat? Imagine the different foods you can taste. Dumplings, meatballs, tortillas, baba ganoush, and pizza. And one thing you can count on, no matter where they're from, no kid can resist dessert. Is your tummy rumbling? And while your school may be different, and your games may be different, your dancing may be different, and your art may be different. Isn't it amazing that everyone loves to learn and play and move and create? Other kids might speak a different language from you. It might sound a little different the first time you hear it, but you can still share stories. And isn't it fun to talk with new friends? Some days you might feel happy or sad, excited or worried, glad or mad. Everyone in the world has felt these feelings. And when people feel scared, they sometimes forget that deep down we're all the same. But when they laugh together, they remember. And with laughter and love, we bring a world together. Isn't that wonderful? That's because the world is full of wonderful people, just like you. The end. There's Miss Maria. Okay, now we're going to do a little sing-along. We're going to do the Itsy Bitsy Spider and the Eensy Weensy Spider. So remember, when we get to the second part, you have to substitute Eensy Weensy. But right now we're going to do Itsy Bitsy. The Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Let's try it one more time. The itsy weensy spider, the itsy weensy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the incy wincy spider went up the spout again. Yay! Now we're going to do a poem. And this poem is from A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. It is the poetry of Mr. Rogers, if anybody remembers Mr. Rogers. So our poem is called Many Ways to Say I Love You. There are many ways to say I love you. There are many ways to say I care about you. Many, many ways to say I love you. There's the cooking way to say I love you. There's the cooking something someone really likes to eat. The cooking way, the cooking way, the cooking way to say I love you. There's the eating way to say I love you. The eating way, the eating way, the eating way to say I love you. Cleaning up a room can say I love you. Hanging up a coat before you're asked to. Making special pictures for the holidays and making plays. There are many ways to say I love you. Just being there when things are sad and scary. Just by being there, being there, being there to say I love you. You'll find many ways to say I love you. You'll find many ways to understand what love is. Many ways, many ways, many ways to say I love you. The end. There are many ways to say I love you. Now we're going to read our second book, and this book is called Edmond the Thing. Now, this book will be really interesting when you see who the thing is. This book is called Edmond the Thing, and it is by Astrid Desbordes, and it is illustrated by Mark Boutavert. I hope I pronounced those correctly. And we would like to thank the publishers, Enchanted Lion Books, for letting us read this book today. Edmond the Thing. One autumn afternoon, Edmond the Squirrel and his friend George Owl went for a walk along the river. George, who loved disguises and dressing up, was collecting moss and leaves for a new costume. Squawk! Suddenly George and Edmund heard a strange sound. "What's that?" whispered George, his eyes widening. Only on the other side of the river, a thing with a beak and shiny fur was staring straight at them. "I don't know," whispered Edmund, drawing back a little. "Squawk!" went the thing again, its eyes still fixed on them. The two friends ran as fast as they could all the way back to Edmund's house. From behind the shutters they watched the thing. "What should we do?" asked George. "This is clearly a very dangerous thing." "We have to be brave," replied Edmund, trembling. "Brave?" repeated George. Edmund pulled out a box of green cookies to help calm them down. When the box of cookies was nearly empty, George declared, "I'm feeling a little braver now, brave enough to go home to bed." Edmund, though, had other plans. He went down to the river and posted a big sign. That wasn't a very nice sign. At home, George Owl consulted the big encyclopedia of the forest. He searched for things, but found nothing. He climbed into bed and pulled up the covers. In the morning, George felt much braver than he had the day before. "It must have been those green cookies," he said to himself. Curious, he decided to go see if the thing was still there. "But I won't go as I am," he told himself. "That would be too dangerous. I'll go disguised as something scary instead." On his way to the river, George bumped into his neighbors, the mice Polka and Hortense, Louis and the rabbit, and Edward the bear. As soon as they saw him, they ran away screaming, without giving him a second look or a chance to explain. "Look at him." Delighted by the effect of his costume, George knocked on Edmund's window. "Ah!" cried Edmund. "It's me, George." "Ah!" cried Edmund again. "Come on, stop it," said George impatiently. "Listen, it's really me." "Go away," wailed Edmund. George, shaken, had made his way to the river. He sat down to think. "It must not be easy being the thing," he thought. "Squawk!" went the thing, moving its hands. Hello," replied George. "Hello?" George and the thing looked at each other for a long time. "I'm sorry, George," said Edmund, joining his friend. "I didn't recognize you under all that moss." "Oh, it doesn't matter," said George. "I understand. But it's funny. The thing isn't afraid of me at all." Turning around, Edmund saw the thing. Thing," Edmund's voice trembled. Would you like some green cookies?" They shared some cookies, and as they ate, Edmund thought, and he thought a little more. Carefully he took down the sign and laid it across the river to make a bridge. After a few more cookies, George, who had also been thinking, confessed, "You know, I don't think green cookies and feeling brave have very much to do with each other at all." The sun was almost setting by the time the three friends said goodbye. "Squawk!" said the thing as he went on his way. "See you soon," George and Edmund called after him. When George got home, he opened his encyclopedia. On the page beginning with squirrel, he carefully added "thing" at the bottom. This encyclopedia is now truly complete. he said, closing the book, at least for now. The end. Hi, we're back, and we have some friends here. We have Topsy, Too Tall Giraffe, and Tiny Two Small Mouse. Now, Tiny Two Small Mouse really loves Topsy Too Tall Giraffe, but he can't reach him to give him a hug and a kiss. So you know what he did? He started piling things up. First he took a teacup and he moved it closer and he said, "Can I get up here?" Still can't reach. So then he dragged a cupcake. He said, pretty close. And then he said, maybe this will be the top, tip top. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And everything fell. Poor Too Tiny Mouse. But you know what? Topsy Too Tall Giraffe bent down and gave him a hug and a kiss. You know, the moral of the story is you're never too little to love. And these are great friends. They can be together. The tall and the small can be together. Okay, this is our craft today. Now, these are little paper dolls that have little hearts to make their arms and legs. Now, you can color these in if you make them small. These are glued together. These are 3 different ones glued together. And this is how they look if you color them. And sometimes you have to be careful because they might not be exactly round, but we'll look at that. You can also make them bigger and make them into a Valentine for your friend. I made this one for Miss Jackie. And on the back you can write something like, roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. So that's the bigger one. Now, in order to start doing this, you're going to just start with some plain white paper, like your computer paper, maybe a piece of plain white. And you fold it in half. And while you have the folded part towards you, you fold it in half again. And you're going to leave it that way because your open side goes out like this. And when you draw, you're going to draw a half of a circle. My pencil is very sharp. Then you're going to draw an arm top like this. Your next thing is kind of tricky. You're going to draw a half of a heart, and it can be pretty big. And then you're going to come back and make the rest of your leg. You can do it like this to make it more like a foot. So then, this one is easier to cut because it's much bigger. And I found it's easiest to cut this little heart first, because it's easier to do straight lines when you have some missing paper. And you can always save these hearts for your Valentines. You've got one. Oh, that one doesn't save, but that one does. And then you just continue to cut out. Now, when you do this top of your arm, you only want to go right to where you started in the middle of the head. You don't want to go all the way across. Then you do your head. You can do something to save this paper to make other things for your Valentines. And then you finish up by doing the rest of the leg. Now when you open it, this one's a little bit smaller, but you see they're holding hands and they've got their little feet. And you're going to have to bend it just a little bit to make it flat from where you folded it, so that it's flat. And you can color it. You can make it for your friend or your mom. You can make it for anyone, and you can write whatever you want. It's yours to decorate however you want. Now, if you want to make a chain like this, it's basically the same. But let me show you how you would fold it. You would fold it in half. Let's move this. You would fold it in half, in half again like the big one, in half again. Now, this is tricky. For this kind, the small ones, you're going to fold it in half again. Now you can get two of this size out of this one piece of paper, but we're just going to do one. So we're going to start up here. We're going to try to make just a half of a circle. Then we're going to do our little arm, our half a heart, then our leg, maybe a little bit over like that. You could even probably fit 3 when it's this small. If you want to make them all even, you have to really be careful and make sure that you make them the same. So when you cut it out, you can come down and make another one the exact same size. And if you need help with this, with your caregiver, that's okay. It's okay because this is a real tricky craft. It really is. But if you can get a lot cut out, you can make really cool Valentines for your friends. Or your mom, your sister, or if you make a big chain like this one, you can decorate. I'm sure your mom would love to have some decorations up for Valentine's Day. Yeah, see, this is tricky even for me. Of course, this one's really small. You can make yours a little bigger. And some troubleshooting tips. I think this guy, yeah, his head is pretty round, but see how it makes 4 of them. So they can sit up like this, or you can make them flat like these and color them. So that's a lot of ways to get creative with your Valentine paper doll crafts. I hope you like those. And we're getting ready to do our last storybook, which is this one. Whose Moon Is That? Whose Moon Is That? By Kim Crayons. Whose moon is that? We'd like to thank the publishers, Random House of New York, for letting us read this book today. Whose moon is that? Asked the curious cat. It's my moon, said the tree. The tree is wrong, said the bird with a song. The moon belongs to me. I found it first, said the bear in a burst, and I don't like to share. Is this a joke? The mountain spoke. It's mine, it's only fair. Now that's a lie, said the starry sky. The moon is held by me. It helps me how, said the wolf with a growl. I own it, obviously. Now I'm appalled, the ocean called. None of this is true. I reflect its light on my waves all night. It does not belong to you. All right, said the moon so bright. If the curious cat must know. When darkness falls, I'm a light for all, yet no one owns my glow. If you fight all night over wrong or right, you'll miss the mystery. I shine for one and all and none throughout eternity. And with that, the curious cat curled up and took a nap. When morning broke and he awoke, he said, "Hey, what do you think he says? Whose son is that? My goodness, this is a good bedtime book." This book was such a good book because the moon belongs to all of us together. And we also learned that we all sleep under the same shiny, starry sky. So that is really good. And speaking of stars, we're going to sing our closing song, which is Twinkle, Twinkle. So let's get ready and remember to make your twinkle movements. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Excuse me. Thank you for coming today. I hope you enjoyed Storytime and I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day. Bye bye.